These guys take over. What's been going on this Tuesday, Andy and Steve?
All right, thanks, Scott. Hey, Andy, everybody.
Hey, Steve. Hi, Scott. Hi, everybody. Welcome aboard.
All right, yeah. Let's get going while the regulars file in. Go through a few of the slides here. We're in March now. We're a software company, and Andy and I are employees of the software company, but we also trade our own accounts and have opinions from time to time, but those should not be construed as financial advice. And there you go. For those doing it for a very long time, since the beginning, literally, of layers on top of layers come and go, and our best to try and help people custom tailor the program to get what it is they want to get out of it. Days, learn how to use the program the way in which you want to learn it. The way in which we help you do that is, without a doubt, every day real-time support. He encourages people to come in, whether you're in his real room or the YouTube live feed, and ask questions, and he will demonstrate for you. He's very generous with his time, and then we give him an hour break during the noon session, and one of us will fill in and kind of bring a different flavor to the live stream. And again, a lot of support can be done there. And even if you don't always have a question, pull up a chair and look at the other questions that are being asked. You know, I went through a couple of scans kind of from nuts to bolts on how to find things, and it'll turn on some lights in your brain to kind of help what you're doing. So again, you're not going to learn this overnight, but be patient, give it a week or two. Certainly give it your first month subscription, and let us help you drive it the way you want to drive it. There's the link below if you don't have the, and Barry's session as well. That'll redirect you to the YouTube live stream. And then once you've watched it a few times, the YouTube knows that you like it, and you'll be able to catch. I'll talk about today, and the slide that we always kick it off with is man and machine combined. No human is better than a machine, and no machine's better than ideas in real time for us to act upon, whether it's our own scans, which I'm going to show you one today that it's the oldest scan there is actually, and or if it's the AI, you work together. The system brings up the idea, and then you got to manage it from there. There's no just plug and play, as it were, in the market. Trade Ideas is a great tool to kind of help you mine the right veins for the right stocks and right minerals that you're looking for. We're here to help. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about a few things. I have a lot to talk about, I think, this time on the market recap. There's some interesting things going on, and I know Andy might chime in as well. Boy, today and yesterday, the AI put up some interestingly strong trades. Andy will go over those. Trade of the week finally took it easy on us in terms of the timing. You know, the timing's never perfect. We've had a lot of trade of the weeks blow up with giant gap ups in the recent future, but this one, recent past, I should say, this one was a really, really textbook, beautiful trade of the week, and I've got a lot to talk about, so we'll talk about that. And then, as promised, I'm going to revisit something that's maybe some of you haven't seen. It's called the horseshoe alert, and talk about that. It'll tie all together. You'll see what I mean. And then if we have some time, we can set some alerts and maybe some chart requests, but we'll go from there. All right. I'm going to start with sometimes, so I'm sitting in cash, bullish on stocks right now. Where once supporting us back here are rolling and cross angled in there. And the NASDAQ had looked much higher over than their opening tick and candles. Sometimes the buyers I'm talking about here, under the moving averages, once it broke, anticipated it and covered price, but now instead of being supported by our 10 into the pocket, up into the armpit, which I will call.
Yeah, I knew
the retail guy that we've had speak scenario. Yeah, the darling of the COVID-19. Also had pretty good earnings like this. To not bet, certainly not holding on the moon for that right now. I take my ball and I go home, and that's okay. You can do that sometimes. It's healthy mentally and can be healthy financially. That's the worst of it, you know. So the spiders, okay, we've got today. These were darlings looking that great. Amazon's fighting its 200-day moving average.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's probably other examples that I could give, but the underpinnings don't look like this. And participate, maybe making some money on the short side.
Ups and little profits quick is my opinion. But
Yeah,
I agree with that. Not only that, I just got a weird feeling, man. Something doesn't feel right, you know.
We've both been doing this a long time. Both of us kind of have a weird feeling. And then another friend of mine on social media had kind of an odd feeling too. He can't put his finger on it. So you got the old gray-haired dinosaurs kind of holding their stomach, moaning a little bit. Maybe pay attention. All right, that's all.
I'm Brad to that type strategy. It shows, so it made it difficult. I am that are not going to get you in trouble. Okay, but this was a great idea, and you can see the stop out there on one drive down. Otherwise, it was pretty much sideways all day. Rounds. This is one you should have probably kept your neck was risk segment stop. This is one I will say you probably, if you did trade it and got stopped out, you probably should have kept your eye on it and look at that volume that came in. And I'm sure Bear Beauty, and you can see there, great call right at the 2 SW. Setup was there in Snap. Okay, there's your signal. It had a nice miss 10 period moving average in a lot of these setups. So that tells me take profits. That is a really good call, and the one you should have kept your eye on.
Excuse me, was eyeballing it before it took off.
Right. Yes, there you go.
All right. So, geez, I actually wrote some notes down about this one. See on the weekend. What was I anticipate? Maybe join the, this is the no time machine here. We've talked so much about the gap up and how bad the gap, but what I've said in the past, period moving average to come up and see what happens. Go forward a little bit. This was that. Okay. Still need to sacrifice to get up here and get, okay, well, the AI said buy it. Maybe that's a good probability. And then I said, well, I'm a day trader, but I'm no longer a day one. We'll come back to AI of trade ideas. Dan said, if I can, and the moment it was successful, and he showed me and just knifing through charts manically, and then, a month or two later, if that. So a little bit of backstory. I'm not trying to get too non sequitur here, but horseshoe pattern. I missed the entry. Hopefully you guys lined up, and I was distracted by something else. Just another beautiful, very simple moving average, whether you're using this in a Holly trade or whether you're using this to manage your own momentum intraday. It works like magic. It just continues to hold the price up. All right, so now the AI sells at the end of the day because that's what it does. I want to come back over to the intraday chart. I'm sorry, the daily chart. Because what I do and what we're talking about today is swing trading. And you've probably heard me talk that swing trading to me and Andy is like surfing the market. We try to find a nice setup, these things we just looked at, Voozy and Discovery A, position ourselves and start paddling and then ride the wave and do a couple of sweet cutbacks. But that's short-lived. And even before Andy talked about it, the perfect trade to me on the really good ones that go bonkers on the first day for you and give you that 10, 15, in this case, almost 25%. Those are about a day and a half, and I'll just say it again, day and a half, day and a half. There's something magical about a day and a half. So if I was in this trade, which I wish I was, when you get moving day, I've called it moving day before, where a giant green candle on good volume just catapults out of the congestion and definitively closes at or near highs. You got yourself a nice big long green candle. You don't want to sell that close. You want to stick around and see what tomorrow brings. And so that's when the half comes in. And there's a couple of different ways, the stock can open. In this case, it opened with a bonkers crazy 15-minute bar. So if it opens with a giant gap, take the gap immediately. Don't even ask questions. Sell at least half of it. That's your day and a half. The half is literally the gap because you got it so quickly. Or maybe it trades up very quickly on a nice early morning green bar. I would take that too. Take that as your half a day. Or if it just kind of grinds up slowly, but you start to get close to lunchtime, that's probably your half. Because what's happening is the people that were fortunate enough to participate and risky enough to take the price home overnight, they want to get rewarded for the risk that they took overnight. And so that to me is just the perfect trade. So I looked left over here and said, wait, if I was in this trade, I would be a seller of at least 1/3 or a half right there at that prior candle. And the way that worked out, let's see how that worked out. Let's move this line up here. Let's see where that corresponded to today. Here we go. So yeah, selling some right there would have been nice, because it didn't take long before people with the same idea, the same profit motives and greed factors and demons sitting on their shoulders start tapping them and saying, oh, we missed our opportunity, let's get out. So the point is, this was a beautiful setup. It was a beautiful execution. It was a beautiful example of how to manage a gap up and be patient and wait for this moving average to come up and catch it, take your entry. And then if you get to ride it all day long and you have a green candle at the end of the day, hold on for the ride tomorrow, but instantly flip into seller mode on day number 2. And somebody asked me today, they said, well, what about Voozy now? I said, well, it's broken now. It's like a wave that I've paddled out of and it's just breaking towards the shore, and maybe it'll go set up again and show up on a scan somewhere else, but I'm not really interested in it anymore. It made its move. Like Andy said, 10, 15%. You're foolish if you don't start banging out profits on those types of moves, especially if you get in the first day or a day and a half. All right, so a lot to say on that. Let me see if I missed anything. Pretty much, yeah, talked about everything.
Just explain your blue bar, your blue
bar
on the 15-minute chart.
The blue, oh, the blue line?
The blue line, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay, so this is a 5-day moving average, and I use it a lot. Let's see if it even came into play back, if we backtrack a little bit. The Qs broke it at the end of the day. So to see how midday, the SPYs held that 5-day average. This is kind of a secondary to the 10 period. And the way in which you get that on the 15-minute chart is just go to indicators and then add a simple moving average and assign 130 as the value. So you're taking 130 15-minute candles and smoothing that out, and it gives you this kind of perspective, and it comes in handy sometimes. Hopefully that's what he was asking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talked about the horseshoe, and we talked about how that was the very first strategy I ever used trade ideas for. And so I submitted the horseshoe kind of as it is, or as it was, to the AI, and the AI Holly took it and messed with it and back tested it and did whatever. I have no idea what the horseshoe strategy in the AI looks like as far as the configuration goes yesterday, but it came through. And I thought, well, you know what? I haven't played with my horseshoe strategy, and one thing I haven't played with it is I wanted to marry it up with the score, which is what I've done with the A table, just taking our composite rating and just saying, what if I took, all the stocks that were a 75 or an 80 score, so they should be a pretty decent looking chart, and said, show me the ones that are giving me a horseshoe. And so I built that today, and let's just look at it real quick. The way in which you do it, it's called the False Gap Up Retracement. That's the event. That's the algorithm that Dan and Phil built for me back in 2003. And this qualifying window basically says, well, how much of the gap do you want to be filled? And so I've always just used 30%. So literally, the algorithm will look and make sure that the 30% of the gap was filled from the opening tick. And then my filters are just simply above $5. I don't want to see this until 20 minutes after the open. This is a setup. This isn't a gap and go. I want this to set up a little bit. And then it looks like it dipped down to 70 on the stock composite rating. So today, let's see what it gave us. And again, my favorite time of day to use this is right around the top of the hour, at 10 o'clock Eastern, so it'd be 7 o'clock my time. All right, so there's Dow. That one looks like a gap and go. Not much out of that. YOLO, what a great name that was. And YOLO did not work. They did not live once. Square was interesting, gapped up, came in, went back to highs and gave some morning push. Now remember, guys, the backdrop of the market was some selling for the rest of the day. NASDAQ was selling from the opening tick. So, some of these might have worked a lot better if the market was strong. Carnival gapped up, came in, went to new highs. Hey, gave some alpha on the, oh, look at that. It was a Holly trade too. I'm 2 for 2, matching up. This is not bad at all. INFY, pretty good daily chart. It's gapping out of a range there. And hang on one second. Let me fix that. There we go. And move back to highs and just kind of ground higher for the rest of the day. I'm going to go to yesterday and just show you, yesterday we had at one point on this particular scan, there it was, Boozy. So there's the buy tag yesterday. Let's go back. You can actually see that. The buy tag was the AI, but when I click on my scan here, Vuzi yesterday, and scroll back again, that blue arrow is indicating the candle at which this triggered on. So my old scan and the new iteration of it with the score and the AI kind of met up yesterday in a crossroads. So
Can you
for anybody,
show?
yeah,
Can you show what your percentage of gap fill that you're using on that one?
yeah, it was 30%.
That's a question. Okay, yours
Yeah,
is 30.
30%.
Okay.
So you could change that to 50. And here's what's nice too. You can see what's cool about the quality. Okay, ABB took a while to close. This one didn't. It took midday before this one peeked its head up and then kind of wallowed around. But look, you get a really nice description crossed above the open after a 50.94% gap closure. So it's always neat to see that, and you can kind of eyeball that, and you can see, yeah, look at that, it went about 50% there. So I use like a 1/3, 30% is good enough for me. All right, so let's see, what else was I going to talk about in terms of that? I guess that was it. It just seemed like a good time to revisit that. You know, I know what it was. I tried to back test it. Our back tester's a little slow, but I'm just going to give the scan out, and you guys can back test it and optimize it. I'll tell you, it works best for like a 1-day hold, and definitely works best in the first, I would say using East Coast time works best probably between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock East Coast. Yes, of course, Vincent, I would never, ever tease you guys with a setting and a scan and show you a bunch of examples, talk about it, and then not give it to you. So we'll go ahead and do that. Unless there's anything else I need to contribute towards that. All right, I will drop that in the GoToWebinar chat window. We'll call that the horseshoe. And the only thing different, again, was I just added the, when I first had this from Dan at Trade Ideas, we didn't have a lot of moving average filters. We didn't have a score composite rating. So I got a mess of ideas thrown at me. Now we have a lot more filters where we can really kind of slow it down and just see the things you want to. All right, so I need to paste that into, it's in the chat window, not the questions box, but the chat window for those of you that want it. Let's see. George, Vuzi was a celebrity place I had peg on Sunday night and didn't wake up in time to put it. Oh, yeah. George, I feel your pain. I missed it too. But again, if I have to sacrifice in order to make a really good call, and the last few weeks, the timing has just been rough on some of these trades. You guys can send and look at a dozen or so charts on the way out. Chris has already got one. All right, I'm going to go through these quick and just see if anything sticks out to me. I will stop that. I looked messy. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. Parts again. Interesting. No, that looks not. Doesn't look bad at all, actually. Yeah, Andy gave me the confirmation. So let's forget that wick and just say if it can take out that little bunch right there, we'll be interested in that. All right, not going to chase that. That doesn't look bad at all. Bloomin' onions. All right, well, you know, Texas is opening up, Mississippi's opening up, places are opening up. The chart confirms the story. Perhaps it doesn't look bad. A really nice catch of the, we're just going to go ahead and mark that one up too. It is earnings season, guys, so make sure you don't take something home. Wait, this one is just Dave & Buster's, similar kind of a thing. Not going to chase that. Viacom looked good a couple days ago, just like when Discovery did, and then 2 days later, it's too late. This is starting to get a little shapely. What is this? Oh, American Airlines, huh? Okay, this is starting to look a little flaggy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for this one, we'll have a little fun. We'll say, what if it pulls back and touches that 10-period moving average? Maybe we'd be interested. Put a note in there. Did it touch an SMA? Contrarian, just kind of eyeballing that one. Another restaurant, Cheesecake Factory. So there's a Cutback Steakhouse and Cheesecake Factory. I don't like the way that thing closed. There's another, that's Under Armour, okay.
That actually doesn't look that bad. Yeah, at the top of those two wicks. I don't know.
It doesn't.
No, yeah.
Better to know about it than to not know about it. You know, I've been playing around with this one for a while. I'm going to pass on that one. Oh, that looks really nice.
Mhm.
Spirit Airlines. Okay, so confirmation of another airline. Possible breakout. This is probably one of the, I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to say I want to know about Spirit Airlines right above that price right there.
I cheat. Yeah.
All right, we'll do something like that. It just goes back in the heap, waiting for something else. It's like a big jump rope. You know, it looked great 2 days ago. Now it's on the apex and coming down, and there's nothing to do with it. So for you that, you know, for those of you that come into trade ideas that, you know, want a window that's just going to make you all the magic monies, I mean, again, what I said at the beginning, it's human and machine. The machine is giving us a good curated ideas, a list of ideas, but it's up to us to pull the trigger and manage the trade in real time. We're getting lower to the lower float here. All right, that's enough of that. I actually had another one in here. I'll show you. I've got 2 price alerts. I've got TGB. I don't want short. That's my own. TMST. That's another one, kind of a funky one. And those are not shorts. Let's edit that. Be a long. We can edit the alert. Change it to a long. American Airlines was also not a short. So I'll just hand these out as a cloud code for those that want it, and then we'll spend 5 minutes and look at a few charts. There are 7. Drop that price alerts. All right, that is in the chat window. Let's scroll back a little bit. Okay, I saw Chris was first with CPIX. Interesting, very spiky. It's got a personality to it, under $5, so it never really wants to close on highs or lows. Probably it will persist, but I'll tell you what, you know, it probably doesn't look bad above 350 if it wants to do something. BC, okay, doesn't look bad at all. It's GT. This one bled. You know, I used the. Let's do this. All right. Okay. Got all the hopes in the world for GTE to hold that 10-period moving average. Okay, it didn't hold, but it bounced off. Okay, maybe it would have held there, but it jumped at the 20, failed yesterday. Back in no man's land. I don't moving average at some point. Maybe another day of selling. We'll find some support around 70, 68. Oh yeah, Amazon and Tesla. Dan, you know we were short Tesla, so Amazon and Tesla both look weak. I would not be long them. Let's put it that way. We'll just leave it at that. Not be long Amazon and Tesla. TripAdvisor, we went through that a minute ago. A really nice looking pattern back here, you know, sideways, trains leaving the station, reach down, touch the 10-day moving average, and that was it. But up here, it's getting pretty volatile. I would stay away from the volatility up there if you were establishing a new position. Packard, still a thing. Again, got ahead of itself, very nice trend, but I wouldn't be establishing a position up here. It looks like it's just wanting to consolidate.
I want to add something to that, Steve.
Yeah.
That's a great example of a value play, and you're seeing a lot of that. And you pull up Xerox too, XRX, and what happens? The reason these are holding it. This is what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of money come out of the momentum trades, the high-valued stocks, and they're going into value plays.
Coming out of the Teslas and the Amazons.
Yep. And these typically pay a dividend, and you can see it in Steve's single stock window there. There's a dividend in both of those stocks. So that's kind of what you're seeing. And when I start seeing that, I really kind of stay away from some of those momentum plays, because you're seeing it's quite obvious. The momentum plays are kind of breaking down, and you're seeing these value plays going to highs.
Yeah. Somebody's asking if we buy puts on Amazon or Tesla. I mean, that's up to you. Options are a different animal, but we are short common stock in our fund on Tesla for the second time after a good first trade. So bearish on Tesla for sure, but you know, trade it how you want it. There's many ways. RRD was another one. Is that RR Donnelly? Wow, that's an old name from the past. That's probably what you were just talking about too.
Yeah.
Do they have? Where am I looking? Do they have a dividend?
A small one, yeah, but it's
Yeah,
probably got a decent PE ratio. I don't see your PE ratio on there, but
yeah, something happened to them. I wouldn't chase it up here, but it definitely has come to life. ERJ. You know, I don't like the way it broke that 10 period. Now it's going to need that 20 period as a backstop. It's kind of in no man's land there. We did HPQ already. SAV, I think somebody's asking about. That doesn't, oh yeah, we talked about that one already. We like that one, don't we? We like Spirit Airlines, even though we don't like flying it. We like the way the chart looks. I don't like being charged $55 for an extra bag. Hey, we did that one. Okay, OSK. We got about 4 or 5 more, then we'll bring in Scott. Oshkosh, great volume. You know, just keep an eye. Once it tags that rising 10-day moving average, it might be on. These algorithms, they need a stupid light switch to go over and flick like an OCD patient. And maybe that's what it needs before it reverses and the quants start buying it. Did we do Snap? No, we did not. And that was a Holly play today. I like the way it's consolidating. It just needs to work itself out, but not bad. It's had a pretty good run too. Where it's come a long way. So these things are getting really volatile up here. It might be a microcosm of what's happening in the NASDAQ. As I mentioned, these giant volatile candles swinging back and forth as there's a tug of war of, all right, ACY. This will be the last one, then we'll bring in Scott because I'm probably talked out. ACY, that's kind of a messy one. I'm not really liking that one. If that's the way I typed it correctly, hopefully. Yeah, you know, maybe there's a story there, but I don't like the way that chart looks at the moment. It's, you know, it needs to hold $9.50. Let's say it needs to hold the 50 period should be good there. All right, well, I hear Scott come on, so I'll bring up the slideshow and let him talk at you, and we'll just talk with you next time. Hang on a second.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Andy. Just a couple of reminders on the way out. We do have that earnings season ebook. Go ahead and grab that before it's gone. Go to tradeIdeas.com/earnings. Very useful on how to take advantage of earnings season. It's got some strategies in there you can import via CloudLink too. We also have a podcast. They come out periodically. Trade Ideas Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. You download the newest episode and be ready to pick up the next one as soon as it comes out. And there's also some back issues. If we're listening to some previous episodes that we released, have some good interviews, insightful stuff. As a code, use the code OPPORTUNITY, 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. Use that for a new subscription or an upgrade. You can find Steve on Twitter at TodayTrader. We also have at Trade Ideas and some other handles. You find those if you follow one. Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook page to like and share with your friends. And if you have any questions, send it to info@trade-ideas.com. You'll get an email reminder tomorrow with a link to the playlist where you can find the recording of this session. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Andy. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.